Hi, Namaste. This is Shruti Tibrewal, and today I'm going to talk about love and relationships. I have been observing the dynamics and challenges in intimate relationships and modern love for quite, you know, a long time now, and I could never really embrace this part of me when I was a child or maybe a teenager, because I found myself consumed in a lot of fears and apprehensions around this topic. And it was when I failed in multiple relationships in my life that I finally gave myself a space to own this part of me and developed a sense of empathy towards this part of me. I took responsibility and accountability and I started working on myself. So I went to Dr. Gaurav Dekar and I started working on this part of me that was bothered, affected, and if I may put it like this, rather in a search of love and meaning in life. But due to failure in multiple attempts, I realized that there's something which I'm not looking at, and there's something which is missing. And hence, I started working with Dr. Gaurav, and little did I know that he'll turn out to be one of the biggest mentors in my life, and that I always was looking for in this field of therapeutic healing. So, as I kept on working and as I kept on observing my life, as I started working with so many clients of mine, I realized one perennial truth about life, which is that the quality of my relationships are nothing but a reflection of the quality of my life. Or you may put it vice versa. Okay? So, this this simple fact is what made me motivated enough to work on myself and to work on the quality of the relationships that mean something to me. And I realized that the relationship that you have with anyone significant around you, anything that happens in that dynamic is a reflection of how is the relationship of me towards myself. It is often seen that what the relationship that I hold towards myself is portrayed in my relationship with my partner. And this is something that I've observed in all of my clients who come and work with me on their specific relationship issue. So, to bring or put light on this, let's travel a little back and let's go back in history and see where is it all coming from. So, until not too long ago, there was no such thing as marriage counseling or couples therapist. And basically, when you get together with somebody, you used to follow a simple guideline that says, till death do us apart. And it was not like today, which says, till I stop feeling love for someone, right? It was even back then, even the family's happiness or the happiness of a family was never dependent on the happiness of a couple. This makes the couple a very central unit in the family, right? And if you simply look at just two generations before you, like your parents and your grandparents, you will be surprised to see the reality of this existential state. We no longer belong to that previous structure where the role of each and every member in the family was defined. Relationships were pretty simple and clear back then. Religions had specific structures, incentives, and prohibitions for each member, each role in a family. What you did is what your father or mother did, and it continued for a long era like this until we entered into a world of magnificent choices. This world at which we are, at this point in which we are right now, we have so many choices and everything is up for negotiation now. Everything is up for grabs now. So many questions are cropping up in the consciousness or in the realm or in the dynamic of a couple which have never been asked or even answered before. Questions like who's gonna be the breadwinner, who's gonna feed the baby, who has the right to demand for sex, who who takes the decision of moving to say east or moving to the west, whose career will take priority, can I have more than one relationships at once, and if I can have more than one relationship, can I tell them about each other? There are so many questions. Are my needs being met in this relationship? Am I even happy in this relationship? So these are some questions which, if you look at your ancestry, you will realize that has never been asked before. This unprecedented freedom that has existed, that is existing in our realm now, has never existed before. Maybe not even in our heads. Even though some of us want all the traditional things in a relationship, like say family, children, social status, etc., there is also a deep desire now of a best friend, of a passionate lover, of a confidant, of someone who is adventurous but also stable at the same time, someone who is who has that unpredictability but also predictable in some sense. So it almost has become like a paradox now. And if we don't adapt ourselves, and if we don't align ourselves to this reality, the relationship takes a hit and the quality of my life takes a hit. So conversations have become the heart of a relationship nowadays, and it is seen that there is a very unique love language that belongs to each person. Now, what is a love language? And how do we manage this paradox? Is this a problem, or is this a situation that needs to be taken care of? So, each person has a very unique love language. For example, my love language can be my love language can be giving words of affirmation to my partner, appreciating my partner whenever he does something good. And maybe I saw that while I was growing up in my parents, and somehow it became a program and a love language in my dictionary. So as an infant, as we take birth and as we enter this planet, the first significant relationship that we see is of our parents, and it forms the foundation, the blueprint, the basis on which the love language, the idea of love develops. The personality that we embody, the thinking patterns, the needs, the desires stem from this very first relationship that we have seen as an infant in life. It is also very significant because it is like a template that is formed in the head while we were growing up, and it found expression only when we found that significant partner in life. In some cases, I have also seen that it finds reflection in some intimate relationships, like employee boss and say two very close friends, and it is not necessary that it will reflect on your romantic partner, but I would say as per observation that 98% of my cases where someone walks in with an issue like this, it goes down and it trickles down to the root or to some very early childhood trauma that uncovers itself and brings healing in the space of my client. To know more on this and to discover your own unique love language, to get more insight on it, please join me for this one-day workshop. and you can find the details in my post. So to continue, I would just like to add that the most common approach that a client walks in with is that, I need to fix my partner, or I need to fix my boyfriend. He's doing it all wrong. He's really, so let me give you an example where a client walks in and tells that my boyfriend is really, alcoholic, and he's really abusive, and I don't know what to do, and I can't even leave him. I feel so scared. So can you do something, and can you just talk to him and help me out in here? So what I do is I tell her that if he's ready to talk to me, I can talk to him, because I find that she is not in a position to see this as her own issue. So in her case, her boyfriend is ready to talk to me, and when he comes in with her, I ask him, do you see this as an issue in your life? Taking alcohol so frequently, talking loudly, showing anger, is this causing any issue in your life, and are you worried about it? So he said, no, I'm totally fine with it. I don't see it as an issue, and it's fine, it's helping me. I don't know why is she saying it like this, because I don't see any issue here. So sometimes what we see as an issue in someone else can be perceived as no issue by that very same person who is experiencing it. So then I ask her, the client who came to me originally, so I ask her, tell me something about the relationship of your parents. So she tells me it was very cordial, they were good to each other, there was no such issue, they treated me very well, and all my needs were met. So I again brought her back to their specific dynamic as to how they were with each other, and I told her to look at that part of her family. So when she looked back and when she observed the dynamic of her parents, she realized that her mother has felt this same feeling in respect of her husband. Her husband used to drink, and not frequently but occasionally abusive towards her mother. So that kind of became the major template in her dynamic, which kept on repeating in her life as a pattern. So when I worked with her, and when she came up to work, she owned this issue of her life, she took responsibility for it, and when she worked on it, she did her healing, she did the family work, and after a couple of months she came back and told me that I have never been better, and even my husband and I are more open about our feelings. And even though he has not stopped drinking completely, but my outlook towards him has changed, our relationship has grown, things are picking up in a much better pace, and they found that safety that they were looking for. So sometimes the solution is not about changing what is happening outside of you, it is about changing your perspective towards it. Okay? Right. Okay. So there's one more thing which I would love to add here, that you'll observe that earlier there was a sense of belonging and identity, but there was no freedom. And now we are living in a world of unprecedented freedom, but there is a deep loneliness, or that sense of belonging is somewhere tainted in the process. Somewhere this inherent loneliness is occupying a lot of space within us, and for the first time in history we are looking at our partners to find rescue for that. Okay, all the traumas, all the experiences that we have experienced since birth till now, that were internalized and buried deep within, are now finding expression and finding resolution as we look to our partners. This is something very new and it has never happened before. So, all that said, if even today, if I take a survey on, say I'm announcing a workshop on 4 topics, and I take a poll and say the 4 topics are leadership, business, finance management, art and relationships, there would be hardly anyone who select relationships. They are even now seen as the least important and least prioritized. It is almost like knowing something but still not taking responsibility for it. And hence I request all of you to pause, take a moment and just think of all the significant relationships in your life. Think about the quality and your position in those relationships. And now think, how is it impacting you and your quality of life? Check it for yourself if it feels true to you, to your body, and you'll know the answer for yourself. So, it makes my heart a bit heavy, and I would love to contribute in any way that I can. And my heart becomes heavy because I live with a very ever present reality that the quality of my relationships are affecting or reflecting the quality of my life. Living with this truth has been difficult for me, but has been most healing and empowering as well. So, I imagine a world where we can experience our relationships with a sense of aliveness and joy, because that brings in the essence of life, that brings in the bond and the connection that we make with other human beings, and the sense of happiness that comes from it is beyond measure and beyond anything that that gives meaning to that human experience. I haven't seen that sense of happiness and joy that comes out in a secure relationship in any other area. So, hope this was helpful for you. Hope this gave you an insight. And if you would like to know more about your own unique love language, and if you want to know something about your dynamic, do check out the details of this workshop. Reach out to me with any questions that you have, and sign up, and see you.